So let's talk about the GM Lynn Dunn and the coach Chrissy Sides, because in my opinion, these two have to get better this offseason. If Lynn Dunn doesn't do everything to re-sign Kelsey Mitchell, it's a disaster right away. You have to make sure you keep her around because there could be a possibility that Kelsey Mitchell says, you know what, I want to get a better contract. And if Lynn Dunn doesn't step up and sign her, yikes. And when it comes to Chrissy Size, the choices she's made with this rotation has been questionable. You look at a girl like Grace Berger, who was drafted 7th last year in the 2023 draft. She was a first-round draft pick, which means she was a top 10 player in their eyes. She went from playing 36 games last year to 10 games this year, which doesn't make any sense, especially when she's 6 foot. I think she has a 6'4" wingspan. Erica Wheeler is 5'7", and she has like a 5'11" wingspan. But you decide to play Erica Wheeler more than Grace Berger. Doesn't make any sense, especially when she's a second-year player. She needs more minutes. She needs to be developed more. You can experiment a little bit with this rotation. Heck, play her at least 5 minutes next to Caitlin Clark. See how it goes. You've got nothing to lose with trying to figure out your rotation behind Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Lexi Hall. There are weaknesses on this team because, in my opinion, Chrissy Size did not develop some of these players well enough. Grace Berger, why is she not playing out there? I understand you have more money invested in Erica Wheeler, but there were times which she was not that good. So just see if Grace Berger has anything to give out there. Because at the end of the day, you're just trying to build a foundation. The Fever are not a championship team yet, and that's fine. Now, when it comes to Lynn Dunn, you better improve this roster. You better find a wing and a solid backup point guard, whether it's going to be Berger or somebody else. Because we don't want to see next year the same script. If Chrissy Size continues to have problems with the rotations and Lynn Dunn cuts people for no reason or doesn't get anything in return for Kelsey Mitchell, then it's not going to work in the long run. And if I'm Herb Simon of the Indiana Fever, I'm giving Chrissy Sides and Lynn Dunn a short lease because there's a ton of interest in the Fever because of Caitlin Clark. I've got my cornerstone pieces with Boston, Clark, Mitchell, and Lexi Hall. Now I need to improve this roster, add some depth. If Lynn Dunn cannot capitalize or execute those things and she's cutting players or Kelsey Mitchell goes out and walks, that's not a good sign. And if Chrissy Sides cannot maximize this roster, develop players, move on from her because you're just wasting time, Caitlin Clark's going to get unhappy. And if she ends up leaving, you look like a fool. Now, I've said this before. I'm going to give them one more season. And if things just don't improve where the Fever don't add a wing and a solid backup point guard, or if Chrissy Size doesn't develop the players she has right now, who are rookies or second-year players, then it's time to move on. And also, the Fever started really bad at 1-8, but they're 18-11 cents, so it's probably a top 4 team in the playoffs. So how do we go from 3rd or 4th to the best team in the league? That's what Lynn Dunn needs to figure out, and also Chrissy Sides as well. So when it comes to Lynn Dunn and Chrissy Sides, there is so much pressure. They're going to be under a lot of scrutiny because fans are watching. People are paying attention to the Fever because of Caitlin Clark's popularity. So they can't be complacent. They can't act like their jobs are safe because fans are going to get really upset if they see the same thing next season. Now, I'm not suggesting that if Chrissy Sides and Lynn Dunn get better at their jobs and the Fever don't win a championship next year, that they should be fired. No, that's not what I'm saying. Because when you're trying to win a championship, it takes time. There's a process. So let's just say the Fever get better and they get knocked out in the first round. You can't give up on it because they're trying to build something. Think of it like the Boston Celtics, where they made multiple conference finals. In the bubble year where they were playing the Miami Heat, they lost in 6 games. That offseason, they lost Kyrie Irving. They lost Gordon Hayward. What happened where they had Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum? They finished 7th, and Jaylen Brown got hurt that year. So you got to consider injuries as a factor. What happened in 2022? They struggled, and they turned their season around, made the NBA Finals, lost in 6 games against the Warriors. What happened next season? They added Malcolm Brogdon to improve the roster. They lost in 7 games to the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. And of course, they finally won the championship this year. What I'm saying is, don't freak out if it takes a Fever 4 or 5 seasons to win a championship. Don't get upset if Caitlin Clark is not the best player right away. There is a process to this. All I'm saying is, if Chrissy Sides and Lynn Dunn do not improve in their roles, you move on because you don't want to waste time. But don't expect instant gratification because it's not easy to win championships. There's a lot of work. You need luck. And sometimes the ball doesn't roll your way. Sometimes players don't show up. That does happen. I understand Caitlin Clark is box office. She's an amazing basketball player, and she will be the best player one day. But everyone goes through the process. Nobody can skip steps. But as long as the Fever build the chemistry, they build the foundation. We saw this with the Aces. They've got their Chelsea Gray. They've got their Kelsey Plum. They've got their Jackie Young. They've got their Asia Wilson. They have been playing basketball together for the past 3 seasons. They have been building chemistry together. That's why they're so good. Do I think Christie Sides and Lynn Dunn are going to stick around? Well, if it's based on this season, no, they're not going to last. However, we'll see if they prove me wrong. Hope you guys enjoyed this video today. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what do you expect from Lynn Dunn and Christie Sides going forward. Do you think they're going to get fired down the road? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.